Hello YouTube and welcome to episode 2 in the Kubikiri Cycle reaction series. So, right off the bat, I don't know what the title of this video is going to be, if it's going to have a 2 or a 2 and a 3 in it. I don't know, we're just going to start recording and see what happens, I guess. Mainly because Monogatari ran long, so I'm missing a day here, normally where I would have to record this, so I'm going to record and edit on the same night, or I'm going to record twice as much and then upload later in the week. I don't know, we'll see. The other part of it, of course, is it's quite early in the morning because I'm planning to record both Kubikiri Cycle and Symphogear today. So that'll be very, very cool. Symphogear needs to be 2 because I promised that there'll be 2. So as a result, maybe this one suffers this week. I don't know. We'll see. If I get cliffhangered, I'll just flick the next one on. Like, I shouldn't need to talk about the show in as much detail as last week. Maybe I will, because it's a very dense show, you know, your Shaft, near Suicide type bag. But also, I've got a lot of the production side of it out of the way, and character introductions and that kind of thing, so it should be a lot more of sequence of events stuff. Again, we'll see. I think I'm going to do this most weeks now, is that I have the Thursday off, so I'm going to try to record both shows on the same day, if you know what I mean. Or at least do some mass recording sessions. I'm running into a bit of trouble when I finish work and then need to record. It's getting a little bit cumbersome, I guess I would say. But either way, this is only going to extend my job further. I should move on to the comments from last week and have a little bit of a read. Rightio, so if you guys are new here, this is what I do now. I have the comments up here for you guys to read if you want. I'll read certain portions and give my thoughts on said comments, and that's kind of the interaction we have with the series and the audience and that kind of thing, like giving me interesting little tidbits, little bits of trivia, clarifying some things, that kind of bag. Being funny, sometimes they're funny, that's good too. Either way, first comment here by Sio. I'm going to say Sio, and simply just says Pog, and then Fluxio down here. Very Pog indeed. I can't help but agree with these two comments. It is very Pog that I am starting this new show. Seemingly very interesting show too. I have a lot to say about it. You'll get a little bit of a surprise in the Google Doc too. I've written a little bit more. Next comment here by John Bueno. Zaragoto was Nisio Isin's first professional publication after winning the novel writing contest. Isin's writing goes all over the place, he jumps between genres and styles, and yet Zaragoto is regarded in the fandom as the beta test for Monogatari. You can see a lot of this in the writing, in my opinion. I'm also very dark. It'll fix itself, sure. I'm just dark, you can see my face, it's fine. I'm noticing some similarities in how the story is built in its kind of non-chronological way, is what I'm predicting. We'll see this come to pass a little bit more in episode 2, I think, where maybe we'll get like day 6 or something, or day 2, instead of day 3, which we got in episode 1. And yeah, the Take style, it is pretty good. Like, I actually really like the character designs. What is it, Kanami? I like hers a lot. Like, kind of in the wheelchair, but also like the headband and the blonde hair. I think that's quite nice. Yes, definitely different to Volfan's style, who is the character designer on Monogatari, I believe. It's nice to see you mention Danganronpa, because there's a lot of fandom speculation about the author taking heavy inspiration from Zaragoto. That would, yeah, in the timeline-wise, that would make sense, I believe. Yeah, Koraka. Koraka's a goat. I love Koraka. I love Akudama Drive. I love a lot of different stuff that Koraka's done, so that's fantastic. If this is in any way like Danganronpa, then we're in for a treat. I love this shit. Just not the anime. Don't watch any of the Danganronpa anime, please. It's so terrible. Please don't. Just play the games, please. This is a good bit of clarification here. The novels are written in first person, thus when you're adapting it, it becomes very hard to do so. So we're doing stuff like E as I-chan, right? So he's E-chan in the same way that it'd just be saying like the main character. So it isn't a name or an implied history there. That's just kind of your self-insert in a way, you know? So yeah, when I'm talking about the main character, I'm probably just going to say the main character. Kind of like I did with Tatami Galaxy, if you guys saw that one. I love your organization with all the notes and timelines. Make for your reactions. I'm excited for this ride, especially to hear the parallels you might trace between this and Monogatari, since you're watching both at the same time. Thank you very much. And yeah, the first mention of the watch is it's a tough point for me. It turns out that I'm stupid. For the first time in my life, I've discovered this. The watch was upside down. It didn't say 52 something. I'm not 5 head. I'm 3 head. You know what I mean? And yeah, like, this is just more for me than anything else with the notes. Like, they're fun to make, and they also help me keep information in my head. Like, that's what I did all through school. Like, I just like to write notes. Like, even for the stuff where I don't show the notes on screen, I've got notes for Symphogear as well. Just that they're a bit more messy. They're not in a Google Doc per se. Next comment here by Yuki Ali. Oh boy, this will be fun. Glad to see some excitement here. This was voted on the poll, and the video did quite well, I thought, for a show I hadn't heard of before. I was a little bit worried about that in that, hey, maybe this is just going to get like 50 views, but it got like 200 and something, I think, so that's pretty good. Aoiero Savant, I'm going to say, translates to blue savant. Like, this is, yeah, this part here is blue. And the VAs, so we got Yuki Kaiji, or Kaiji? I've heard Kaiji before. Eren from Attack on Titan. Also a bunch of other shit. He is very, very famous. And Aoyuki, that's Hibiki, by the way, as well as, again, a billion other people. This is a pretty damn good cast for our main two characters, at least the two that are on the poster there. Any more insight into the voice cast is great. These are two absolute heavy hitters, for sure. Like, the range on this guy, too. The range, dude. And yes, some meta-knowledge. This is very, very interesting. Nisio Sin wrote this when he was goddamn 20 years old. I was like... I hadn't even left the house at 20. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty crazy. And he's out here writing shit. Like, as a published author. That's pretty cool. And a little bit of extra stuff into Take as well. Did some art for Katana Guthrie, which is also working with Nisio Sin, I believe. And then Pokemon Twilight Wings as well, which I heard is quite good. I haven't seen it. But they're kind of YouTube stuff, I think. Anyway, it's a weird one. The character designs for it were good, though, so shout-outs to that. Next comment here by KK. Don't throw that third K in there, though. Just says nice. Nice. Thank you. Next comment here by Chance Lewis. Ii-chan is a very interesting main character. Pay careful attention to his nature. Oh, I will. I will. If it's kind of like a self-insert in a kind of way, but also somebody that's kind of... Not imposter syndrome, but is... directly comparing himself to some of the smartest people in the country because of circumstance, and maybe a little bit with his history with Kurigisa, then that's something to bounce off of at least. That's a hook to get us in. Next comment here by Aki-chan des. In Japanese, sa, se, su, and so exist, but si doesn't. It's she, from my cursory Japanese knowledge. Therefore, you sometimes see shinbo for simbo, or you know what I mean? Like, it's a hard one to translate into hiragana considering you don't have a bo, you know, like that, as well as not a C. You know what I mean? It's a tough one. That's why you sometimes see it translated two different ways. Just a little bit of history on Shinbo as well. Shaft for a long time only worked on other studios' projects, so kind of a side studio. You see a lot of them in the credits if you ever read the credits for a lot of different anime. They didn't know how to make their own stuff, so they hired Shinbo-san, an experienced and acclaimed director since the 80s, to teach them. He directed some shows like Madoka himself, but others like Monogatari, he took more of a mentoring role. So he's like Shaft Papa. He just like looks over everything and makes sure it's all going okay. And it seemed to work. Like, Shaft's work in the 2010s speaks for itself, basically. The last thing that Shinbo himself worked on, like, full-time at the studio was Maho Shoujo Lyrica Nanoha, which inspired both Symphogear and Madoka. Very worth checking out. I've heard of this, I don't know anything about it, so maybe chuck it on a poll. Maybe I should check it out. Shaft and Magical Girls, I've seen that before, and that was quite good, so shoutouts to that. Next comment here by Hot Wheels Kid. This is the first book I ever read in Japanese. Absolutely love this series so much. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much, and this is also very impressive, considering, like, anybody that can read two different languages is pretty damn smart in my books. Next comment here by Creator. A lot of things happening on screen and I understand nothing, just like watching Monogatari for the first time. Are you checking this out for the first time along with me? Because that's very cool. I like that. Maybe you followed a little bit, not advice, but I guess it was advice. Like, the people in this community are pretty switched on with this kind of stuff. So if they say something's good and then you check it out and you're like, this is good, like, this is part of what it's about, the sharing of the knowledge there, you know, and a little bit of trust in your fellow people that are interested in the things you're interested in. Maybe you'll also be interested in the things they're interested in. You know what I mean? Like, it just works. It just works, right? Next comment here by Evan. As far as I know, the subtrack you are using is the only decent one, but I haven't searched for a new one in years. Rewatching this just makes me remember that the rest of the series will never get adapted. Sad. Sad situation at Shaft, sad situation for for this show, which seemingly wasn't very popular, but again, I could be wrong there. There could be some other stuff going on with it not getting adapted. I would need to look into it further. But yeah, the way I understand it, the novels are pretty well translated. When I was looking for copies of the show to watch very legally, I saw that the novels were translated as well, and you could just download them from the same place. So maybe I jump into that after this and just do that in my spare time. That could be cool. Like if it hooks me in, then there's no reason why I shouldn't, right? This is another one by Hot Wheels Kid. Yes, it is. Ichan is legitimately my favorite Nisio Sin character, and likely my favorite character of all time. But it's very hard to explain why without spoiling things. So keep an eye on the main character. That's something that I've noted from these comments. That being said, a lot of his narration is cut, kind of like Monogatari. You need to make a television episode out of it. It's hard to do a lot of internal dialogue in a way that's satisfying in that regard. You have to adapt it. Reading the book after watching the OVA is a very different experience and definitely worth your while if you end up liking it. So watch this, get a taste, see if you like it, and then dive into the novels. Kind of like that, I think. And then, yes, also the watch. I was stupid. I was stupid. And then, yeah, just last comment here by, I'm going to Google Translate this quickly. Mohammed Al-Balushi? We're going to say? Mohammed Al-Balushi, sure. Either way, he simply just has a few emojis. Seemingly enjoyed the episode, though, so that's good. I like when I chuck the names into Google Translate. It makes me feel smart. Anyway, moving on to something else now. It'll come up on screen. Yeah, so normally here in my other series, I'll do somewhat of a recap. Here, I'm doing the recap in the Google Doc and writing it like this because I have an inkling that there's going to be some weird sequence of events stuff, timeline stuff, similar to a Monogatari. So we're gonna talk about that here. Either way, we start the show with a weird realm where the main character talks to a lady about the greater themes of the show. The greater themes of the show, which I have here, which I'll go through shortly. Day 3. So we start on day 3. That is something that I noted. Main character wakes up and goes to see Kunagisa Tomo in her room. Main character tries to greet maids with little response, so seemingly there's a bit of a class divide between the haves and the have-nots there. The main character goes to the cherry blossom tree and chats with Sakaki Shinya, who is not the servant, but kind of like the keeper of Ibuki Kanami, kind of helping her along, kind of her +1. During this meeting with Ibuki, also they make a kind of date for the end of the day where I think the main character is going to model for a piece of art for her, which is great. The main character then sits down at a table in a big, like, Harry Potter time turner type situation and chats with Sonoyama Akane about the main character's history, Kunagisa, and her hatred of art as a concept, which was a weird one, but sure. Akane goes away and is replaced by Himena Maki, who seemingly knows everything to an unsettling degree. Again, keeping it very short, but she is really sus in a very specific way that I think will come back in the story. You know, she clearly is trouble based on the camera angles, based on the shaking as well. Like they're setting her up for something. After visiting Kunagisa for a short while, the main character visits Kanami and models for her art. Some interesting discussions on the concept of art as well as Kanami's hatred for Akane just in general. So it's kind of the opposite there, as like the person that loves art is very emotional about it and blames the person, but the person that's the academic is not as emotional and blames art as a concept for their disagreement. So something to dive into there. And yeah, main character gets his watch back at the end. It's upside down, you moron, and we're gonna bold and italicize that. Good. So I remember that I'm a moron. Cool, then diving into the themes a little bit. So we were talking about people who trample consciously versus unconsciously, killing with intent versus accidental death, in the name of what is just and right, as well as a means to an end. So it was unclear if they were talking about killing, but I implied killing based on some meta knowledge about the show. Again, this could be wrong, but again, the references to Danganronpa are a little bit, I think I know what's going to happen next. Contradictions in characters. The academic with nothing else to achieve. What else is there beyond what we have seen? Why would these characters rate a trampling? Why would they need to trample when they have achieved so much? There's something in psychology in this particularly, right? Like, I'm at the top of my game, what do I do now? Type energy, right? There's nothing, I've climbed Everest, there's nothing else to climb. What's next? So yeah, as I talked about before, non-chronological storytelling. Episode 1 takes place on day 3, so something to watch going forward. What day are we going to get in episode 2? And yeah, I just talked about this part here, and then below this I think I just have character names and roles, which I'll get onto a new page. Yeah, here are the characters. I'll be referring to this when I don't know who somebody is that somebody's talking about in the third person, you know what I mean? So I guess just a few predictions jumping into episode 2 here. I believe there will be a murder at some point. I believe that we need to meet the chef, who is seemingly tomboy, or just has short hair. That could work too. I wonder what her deal's going to be. We'll see. I believe that the maids are up to something. I believe that the murder may be of the lady that runs the show. What was her name again? Let me refer to my thinger. Akagami Ilya. So Ilya. Owner of the island and mansion, some baggage with family, red dress, short brown hair, big lower section of her body too, to not be very crass about it. But yeah, we haven't even met her yet. We need to meet her and have a discussion. But I think that she's most likely to die, based on how I would write this. And the maids, keep an eye on the maids, especially what's her name, Handare. She looked suspect. But yeah, we're seemingly in a place that is very isolated, foggy island, a place out of time almost. So watching for that as well. Could there be some larger concepts around that I have not discovered yet? We'll say. Either way, just my show stuff before I jump into the episode here. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I can do to improve my presentation, comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you would like me to follow you back. And the Discord, join the Discord. I made a channel this morning about a new thing on the channel that I might be doing, which is looking at some first episodes of stuff that is currently airing. So if you guys wanted to recommend some shows in there for me to check out on such a show, that would be appreciated. As well as a bunch of other stuff on Discord, talk about the show. It's a cool place to hang out. There's some cool people there. I'll vouch for it. And yeah, I guess I'm jumping into episode 2 of the Kubikiri Cycle right now. Rightio, got episode 2 of the Kubikiri Cycle up here ready to go. Let me pop that up on screen there. 25 minutes and 20 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly. As always, the picture-in-picture version is available in the description below. And yeah, just going to give it a 3, 2, 1. Rightio? 3, 2, 1, go. Windmill. Oh yeah, a lot of the 3D stuff I didn't talk about as well. Okay, is it me? What is the strict rule? Oh. Okay, well there's the lady that runs the show. Ilya, yeah. Oh, like a clock. Oh, they look very similar. Hello. Did you cook? That would be nice. Yep, this guy. Yep. Directly opposite the what's her name? Ilya. Yeah. Oh, the 3D. This table is giving me Danganronpa like a lot. Lucky number 7, the ultimate lucky student. Here he is. Hello. Are you sitting next to a? No, okay. I thought you may sit next to the girl you hated. Hello, Handare. I like your hair. Zaregoto. So the maids are still the maids, but they also get a seat at the table. Okay, struggling with a place to belong. Very relatable. Kobe. Maybe started life in Kobe. You seem to be pretty close with Kunagisa. Show me the day, you cowards. Okay, whatever you say. Kampai. Oh, this is like an actual opening? Not like last time? Yeah. Oh, it's very shaft. It's almost very Monogatari too, the camera movement. I'll need to read these lyrics too. The bars in the foreground too. There was something on Discord I remember about Shaft really wanting to use their 3D technology here. And they definitely are. Hello. He got a lot of screen time. What you cooking? Okay, maybe you don't die. A lot of... It's also the beheading cycle I now remember, right? Will somebody be beheaded? Day 3 too. Okay, so it's the end of day 3. Same day. Okay. What are they eating? That looks gross. Okay, that's a little bit better. I could have some ravioli. Yeah, she was a guest as well. But so were the maids. What is it? Himena being the psychic, right? Hard work. Okay, hard work with a little bit of natural talent. Okay. Ah, don't lick me. Get away. uh, that's kind of crazy. Okay, your taste buds are pretty good. Alright, got it. Oh. That's a lot of flavors. I like this too, the rotation. That's nice. Only path in life for you. Well, some of your food looks awful. Maybe it tastes alright though. Who may that be? We don't have enough seats at the table. Who is it? Oh, okay. Can I see them? My hero. The main character? Oh, I like your little arms there. That was cool. The real main character. Okay, so Aikawa is the name of the next person? Okay. She's using 2 sets of chopsticks? Yeah, because there needs to be a seat at the table. Okay. Who is this Aikawa? Okay. Whatever you say. Well, Ichan's kind of like he's with you. So obviously he's not staying. Okay. Lots of looks at Kaname. Oh, that was crazy. Well, I disagree with that. Of course you're going to disagree. And they helped build you. Yeah. Okay, different opinions on talent. Alright, that was pretty good. You set yourself up for that one. Oh, murderous intent, though. See, I'm agreeing with her. Like, you can't do anything solo. Well, not anything, but you know what I mean. Are you calling her Ibuki or Kaname? I don't know, we'll say. Alright. Was she being a little bit prissy in the language there, I guess? Yeah, I mean, just eat. Okay. I didn't expect you to do that, Kunagisa. Okay. Okay. Whatever you say. Me too. Uh, she's fun. She like fangirls out. No, I am very mysterious. I like her eyeshadow too. What was that too? Like the static. Whoa, this is very Monogatari. I think it's a good quality. Well, maybe not a complete stranger. That's a little bit much for me. Okay. Again, are you controlling your environment or letting environment control you? Yeah. Don't talk to me about traffic signals, man. We've been through that. Okay. What is this? He doesn't seem that mad. He was just like, can you stop talking to me like this? Whoa, okay, maybe he was mad. Okay, Kunagisa, whatever you say. Oh, I can hear the hibiki in it too now as well. Sit down. Sit down, soldier. Who's gonna walk around Akane to do that? Punch her in the head. You seem pretty level-headed, Kunagisa. I guess you would be. You're very logical, right? The whole engineering thing. You have to bathe. We've been through this. You'll stink up the place. Well, if it was a Monogatari episode, you would tie her up and throw her in the bath, and it would be very, very, very graphic. Must be cold in winter. Baths are nice. I wish I had a bath. I only have a shower. Okay, very interesting thing to talk about. Yeah, like the lobster in the pot. Until they just die. No, it's very true. Tells us that small changes. Oh, that's, yeah. I mean, also that, but also small changes over time in an environment can become unnoticeable. Did she just fall off her chair too? Oh, anything else all day? Yeah, okay. I was about to say you were just eating. I saw it. You had a Coke. There's a full Coke over there. Go talk to the chef. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she's like me and doesn't sleep. What is this shot? The man service. That was one too many highs. Hello. Which maid are you? Okay. Maki, right? Yeah, let's mend that a little bit. I don't feel like you're very sorry at all. This is the most awkward kick-ons ever. This guy's a real fuckboy. More impossible. Oh, this song again. I liked this last episode. Nah, I don't think Konami's like that. Yeah, I was gonna ask some questions about, like, so what is the island? Do they just... Is she just rich and invites people here? Happy. What's wrong with that? She's on holiday. Give her a break. Yeah, you're just like a +1, right? I would have thought it was that. But you obviously know more. That's good. Okay. Alright. You're a little bit talent pilled. Oh, my toe's cramping. I don't know why. You sure? Isn't she like young? Okay. I mean, I just assumed there was some history. Oh, was that a look into her mind? That's fun. I was gonna imagine her skill as well, right? Her talent to be the absolute best at something. Hmm. Really? How so? Explain. Extrapolate. Okay, that's annoying. Why not? Just can't say it. Is that kind of the staticky thing we're seeing? Why'd you come to the island then? One of the maids is just sitting in. What was the case? Earthquake? Oh, straight for Kunagisa. Not the wine. Maki's pretty calm. Again, she does have some sort of clairvoyance, right? Oh, that was very Monogatari too. I'll pour another glass, why not? And I think something more sinister. It's not a small earthquake. Oh, it's a pretty big earthquake. I just know. I logged onto my mad setup. 10 million monitors. Okay, economy's fine. That's nice. Akane? Question marks? Red flag? Okay. Are you all scrambled because of that? Computer should be fine. I don't think it was enough to... Well, it was enough to shake things off a table, actually. Go to bed. Oh, I like the background there a lot. Yeah, this staircase is very important, as we saw it in the opening of the show. Alright, computer's fine. Shut it off. Are you gonna go back to your, like, nightmare bedroom, main character man? Nah, I mean, there's more arm there than you think. Are you sure? What? Creepypasta man. Okay, there you go. Just rolling around. Just loves the coat. That's alright. Alright, good night. I don't think I will. No, it's not about being a coward. It's about you being, like, very young. Oh, that's very pretty. Alright, I'm in the storeroom. Not regular. It's very dark. What is this? Is this his, like, dream? Yeah, I can't get to sleep because of it. I like this. I like the first person of it a lot. Those sparks or water? the sound too. Okay, bye. Alright, so it is like nightmares. Gotcha. Maybe you're a little bit basic. Okay. What was she? I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me. Saregoto. He said it. Day 4. We made it. I would expect there to have been something that has happened. IMO. Ooh. Yeah. Give it to me. Who doesn't have a head there? Somebody doesn't have a head. It's in Ibuki Kanami's room. You'd have to think it may be Ibuki Kanami. And then this is the ED, which is different? Loves a Coke. As soon as it's like, seemingly she's fine in her room, and we didn't get any confirmation there. He's like, no, I don't want to go to her room. I was like, red flags. Also, there's the earthquake as a clue. There's the alibi of most people in that same area, but also Maki was acting kind of sus. There's the clue about Akane and Ibuki / Kanami, whatever we want to call it, their past relationship. Well, not past relationship, but their kind of hatred of each other on various reasons. We have Yayoi unaccounted for, which we'll need to look for. The loss of a head too. Something in that too. Especially for all these brainy ass people. It's pretty nice animation on her. Alright. Rightio, jumping into a little bit of analysis on episode 2 here. Rightio, so I'm back, and I've got some more thoughts here. Where are they? The red stuff. Alright, so this is timeline stuff, just like sequence of events. Let me break it down a little bit. This is pretty broad, could be missing stuff. It is what it is, so I'll have another look here in a second. All the characters meet for dinner. There is a mention of a new character showing up at the end of the week, but we won't get to see them, supposedly, we'll say. Dinner has clashes between Akane and Kanami, which is big, considering I think it's Kaname at the end. Tell you what, I'm going to confirm that right now. Alright, let's have a little think. Who was wearing, like, blue shoes and a skirt and, like, a button shirt and some flary stuff here? And also in the back we can see a lot of people. Shinya's, like, distraught. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but I can kind of see it there. Alright, this is Akane. This is Yoi. Maid. Maki. Kunagisa. Yeah, it is seemingly... This is Kanami. Ibuki, whatever we want to call her, right? If we look at her costuming here, I think it matches, right? That would make sense. Anyway, I'm 900% sure it's her. Either way, there's also a confrontation between the main character and Maki. Kunagisa tries to calm people down, as she does. I think she just wanted to eat. Dinner ends, but Kunagisa wants some more food, so they go and have a chat with Maki, Shinya, and Teruko. I think it's Teruko, but we'd have to check. The maid there, I think. The oldest maid, I think. I can scroll it down and check, actually. Youngest maid, the exact opposite. There is an earthquake, ? And Maki reads the main character kind of like a book. Then I want to write here now that I've confirmed. Day 4, they wake up and find Ibuki Kanami dead in her room / studio, and she's been beheaded, basically. Alright, then we have a few ideas here before jumping into some predictions for the mystery. Main character is continually faced with these inadequacy versus these experts in their field. So this was from the last episode and is being continued here. Think about that first encounter with Yayoi. It's like, oh yeah, I got here through hard work. Also, let me taste your skin. You're all these things, and I actually have this immense talent that is separating me and you that I kind of like forgot to talk about a little bit. I'm sure she worked hard as well, but she does have a lot of natural talent. Compare that with Maki. Compare that with Kunigisa. All these people that have immense natural talent. And again, talent versus hard work. He can't get into either field. He can't use either to get to where he wants to go, you know? And being easily read with the fortune teller wise in comparison to Kunigisa, maybe you're just basic compared to her, right? Maybe there's something wrong. Maybe I can never get there. There's some kind of natural disadvantage there that I have to overcome. And then pair that with beheading as a concept, the losing of one's brain. What makes them them, right? It's all up here, right? That's me up here. Hi. If you get rid of that, you've gotten rid of me. There's something in that, right? In kind of context with being geniuses and that kind of thing, and immense brains on everybody, you know. All right, then we get some. This will look bad eventually because I'm pretty sure most of these will be wrong. But Akane should be the red herring. So, like, these characters had an argument, and then one side of the argument ended up dead. Then it's very, very easy to suss Akane, right? But I don't think it's her. That would be too basic for Nishio-sen, I think. Big sus on Sakaki Shinya for whatever he heard on the phone and then refusing to go and check on her, right? Like, I've just been sussing the maids as well. Like, there's 3 different maids. They have really similar looking character designs, some of them, so that could be something to watch. And Hanami Rei? Again, what were they doing in the first episode? What was all that prep work that they were doing in the background in kind of the intro of the show? And what does Ilya think in all of this, right? Like, is she happy about it? Is she sad about it? Is she non-caring about it? Like, what's the go there, right? The other one, which is very, 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 very meta, would be that the main character's the killer because he was having like weird nightmares and then we don't see him again until later on. Could be some split personality stuff there. But again, that is making such logical leaps that it's very, very hard to take seriously at this point. But yeah, episode in general, good. I'm happy that we've got our first big hook in here. I thought we needed this by the end of the episode. I thought we were getting a little bit long in the tooth just talking things out. But now it's the end of episode 2. We have 5 episodes to talk about who did this, why they did this, where they did this, who they did this with. Is there going to be another killing? Are more people going to get beheaded? I don't know. We'll see. We will see. That table was giving me big class trial vibes. Maybe we're going to do a Danganronpa and have a straight up class trial. I don't know. We'll see. We also have a new opening and a new ending to look at. And just in general, the production of the show continues to be quite good. Interesting angles. There's some nice point of view stuff with like the hands at the TV. Can't pass that gap in the TV to get to Maki. I thought that was quite good. I have this one screen, she has a million screens. Something in that too. Again, we'll talk about it all. But yeah, good episode, I thought. If we overlook the fact you're completely wrong, then you're mostly right. Again, I said, is this me? Because I'm normally completely wrong. But I have some foot in what I think is true anyway as well. But I'm sure, again, this will get more context as we go on and we'll think about it. Maybe I should write it down as well, we'll see. So most of the time on the island, you can do whatever you want, but we're supposed to eat supper together, all as a family, all as a family unit at the dinner table. He seemingly carries Kunigisa wherever she needs to go as well, which is interesting too, as is the placement of people on this dining table. So the first thing I'll say before we get to actual placements, the maids get a seat at the table as well as people like Sakaki Shinya, as well as the main character, who are not the geniuses per se, but are the plus ones to the geniuses. They get a seat as well. So there's not as much of a class divide here. I wonder if that's an Ilya thing. I wonder what's going on there, really. So they still have to like wait, like the table and that kind of thing. Probably set the stuff, clean up after, do all that stuff, but they do get a chance to eat as well. Okay. So Ilya's at 12, right? And directly opposite Ilya is Kunigisa at 6. What I'm going to look at now is who is opposite Ibuki Kanami. So these two maids also have like the same character design but reversed. Yeah, so here and here. Like just mirror images of each other basically. So Ibuki Kanami at 5. So who's at 11 we need to look at? It's also hard to get a grasp on Kunigisa's character right now. She's seemingly level-headed, but also like a little bit of a younger character, a little bit of a brat, likes to have a good time, but also breaks up arguments when she sees them. Clearly is here for another reason as well, investigating something that happened here a while ago, is something she said. It's hard to get a grasp on her yet. She's clearly smart, but also, likes to have a good time as well. Alright, we can see here that it is Ray directly opposite her as well. Interesting. And I have my suspicions about her. We'll see. I mentioned in the reaction that he's like the lucky student. He's at lucky number 7. A little bit of a Danganronpa reference there. Himenamaki also seemingly likes to torment the main character a lot, giving him this look, and then there's a little grimace here as well. Like, she takes pleasure in it. She keeps doing it. She's done it like 4 times in the show now. Chika Teriko, from memory, was the other maid that said hello to the main character last episode as well. She's seemingly the one that has the most character, as opposed to the other two. And Hadare, I don't even think we've heard a word from yet, so I don't know. Zaragoto, as I've said before, seemingly means nonsense. So nonsense in a kind of world of geniuses, right? That's kind of the contradiction there. So the main character is having trouble fitting in, having trouble belonging. Not in Kobe, not in Houston, not in Kyoto. Imagine grew up in Kobe, went to Houston to go to that one school, right? And then not in Kyoto where he spent the time since. And not on this island. I've never in my life felt like I belonged. And the most certainly, of course I don't belong here. This is where the best of the best are. I feel inadequate. I can't be here. Cheers to that, brother, as we move into the opening here, starting this dinner date with everybody else. And yes, we will have a read of these lyrics as well as a look at these visuals. The most striking thing in the opening, I think, was the kind of head cutting off technique that we're using, kind of the top half of the frame moving this way, the bottom moving this way, separating the two. It reminded me a lot of Monogatari's openings with the movement in a 3D space, like lots of really cool transitions, as well as I'm going to read these lyrics too. What I lack is everything you have, what I want to be is everything you want. I mean, that's pretty obviously talking to the main character, right? The moment we first met, I'm sure I already knew. As we see these like bars placed over the top of the scene here, like we're imprisoned somewhere. Is it first person? Are we like the main character imprisoned outside of this beautiful world that he doesn't have access to? Even before it began, behind my words, I'm always hiding. Okay, interesting. What are you hiding? Keeping my feelings buried deep. Now the world that keeps us trapped sure changes before you know it. Yeah, we kind of get visual representations from the other side of the bars of the different geniuses. Okay, so yeah, clearly the main character, I think. I mean, my heart's already dyed a single color. In my mind, the answer's already been chosen. Blue, perhaps? Found it quite interesting where she's like, let's fool around, and then he's just like, no. Is that no because she's like 10? Or looks like she's 10? Or is it a no because like a I'm not worthy type thing, like I should keep my role as your keeper rather than your equal? Something to that maybe? Probably just the former now that I think about it, but we'll see. So this is interesting. Ibuki Kanami right here, and then this guy here, right? That one look right. I don't know. Interesting one to follow. She loves her wine too. Also, is it fate? I don't know, but I'll reach out my hand. I bet we don't need words at all, your melody and my rhythm. Small little looks from the maids here I find interesting. Like this one from Ray, like kind of forlorn. And then Teriko here, like giving sus eyes. I don't like that at all. Clamp up our feelings and spin out our fingers. I'll always be right here. Right by your side. Very cool. And episode 2 called Assembly and Arithmetic. Okay, sure. I don't see any particular reference there to the rest of the episode, but I've been wrong before. And yeah, this is just the continuation of day 2. Pretty catchy little opening. I did enjoy it. Like the kind of tempo shift when we go into the chorus is quite nice. And yeah, as I've said before, just kind of the characters on screen, introducing all of them. Pretty classic stuff for a show like this, I think. Now, I was going to say this food looks kind of bad for, for what it is. But again, maybe this is just like high class food. Like, give me a big burger any day. I don't want this. So Yayoi, she runs the kitchen, but is no servant. She is different to the waitstaff who are the have-nots, who need to clean and do all that stuff. She is an honored guest. She is an expert. She is a genius. Rumor has it she has a secret to make anything taste better. And it's like, I'm not like Jimena. I don't have... Is it Jimena? I thought it was Jimeni. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't have any supernatural powers. I don't have any talents that let me do this. But also give me your hand and I'll lick it and tell you your blood type and a bunch of other stuff. Which is strange. This feels condescending to me. I don't know. Like, it took me hard work to get here, right? Also, I have this immensely helpful talent that helped me get here as well. But I combined the two, which is nice. But also, you know, I think you're bearing the lead a little bit. Everyone speaks so very clearly in this show, too. It's a weird one. I do like this shot here. It's like, what's up? Yeah, I don't know. She's a bit of a goofball. I've got my eyes on her. She feels a little bit weird. Weirdly placed in the story. I really liked these shots here, kind of rotating the table. Like, the backgrounds are really nice. Yeah, it just gives it some dynamicism, which helps the show flow pretty well. I will say the episode felt short to me, which is a good sign. But there's this part of it as well. So I had this talent as a child, so I figured cooking was the only path in life for me. Was my fate predetermined by this? Was there some form of destiny there, where I have this immense talent at this thing and have to pursue this with no other choice for anything else? Does everybody have a secret talent like this, or are you just one of the special ones? It's hard to say. Do you really love cooking? Is that why you do it as well? We're going to say. And then we get into this. I'm imagining this will come up later. I don't know why else you would include this. There's a new genius arriving at some point, right? And this genius is equal or more than all the geniuses already here, which is great. Like, they're super mega genius. And Ilya seems to have a personal love for them as well. Even in one meeting, it was enough for this person to become her hero. Again, speaking to some form of immense natural talent that you can just look at them and tell, you know? Like the detective in a mystery novel or the monster in a monster movie. They're like the main character. Not like our main character, who is nothing special. They're kind of the historical, like, best person to be a main character, you know? You wouldn't see these underdog stories in the past. That would be pulpy grand tales of the person that is the best at something. What is interesting as well, the detective in a detective novel is this is a mystery novel at least, right? That we're reading right now, or at least seeing it adapted. Or the monster in a monster movie. I wouldn't call that the main character, that's the antagonist. Something to watch, maybe. Aikawa is their name too. I'll write that down in my sheet. I like how flamboyant Ilya is for her first scene that we've actually seen her act. She's a pretty cool little character. Again, I thought she would be an easy target to be the one that dies, because it would throw the place into chaos as well, having the owner of the place be murdered. But now that I've seen her on screen for a little bit, she clearly has more going on than this. So Kunigisa and supposedly the main character are going to leave in 4 days and will not have an opportunity to meet Aikawa. Again, Kunigisa is apparently here to investigate a case that has happened in the past. You wouldn't bring up this Aikawa if they weren't going to impact the show in some way. Where I come from, we don't change our minds on these kind of things, okay? Like, you're never unsure. You're eternally sure of things. There's random shots in the middle of this speech by Ilya of Ibuki Kanami just looking kind of bored, maybe side-eyeing Akane a little bit. Yeah, Kunigisa, maybe you should have met this Aikawa for inspiration. Inspiration? That's preposterous. If you allow others to influence you, it's proof that you're inherently mediocre, average, talentless. Kind of like the main character a little bit. Maybe letting somebody like Kunigisa influence him too much. Maybe this is hitting a little bit of a nerve for him, what she's saying. But also, this is another point of conflict for Akane and Kanami, right? So they've had a little tiff here before what happens at the end of the episode happens too, which is something to note. If you rely on others, right? If you let others influence you at all, you're not as brilliant as somebody with the natural talent to do it all on their own. And then Akane is like, that's preposterous. I went to this prestigious school, I learned off these other people and grew as a result. Now, again, this is talking more to our hard work versus talent discussion that is rife throughout the rest of the show. And she set herself up for this one. Yeah, I've been to this prestigious school, I learned off all of them. Well, I've been on this island for you for a while now, and I don't feel improved one bit. So that's shady as. I'm kind of sad she died. I probably liked her the best. She was sassy. I liked it. It's tough, right? Because I probably agree with Akane. Like, collaboration and learning off other people and copying other people and, you know, the greatest artists of our time were copycats at one point, you know. They needed a foot in the door. Of course, they're going to take influence from other things. Nobody is purely creative as that, you know. Like, it's hard to not let your environment impact you at all. There's some weird editing here that I'll note as well. Like, some very quick cuts through that section, you know. Just bang, 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 you know. This is a pretty good burn, though. You think if you avoid stating your opinion and equivocate, you'll make yourself look clever. Like, she's just being like, she's not saying what she really means. She's saying the proper answer of what you should say to that. I think that's pretty good. Like, you're too textbook. And then Kunigase is the one to break it up. Says, hey, shut up. I'm trying to eat. Just fair enough. Don't argue at the table. I like Ilya as well here, right? So Maki says, I feel some trouble brewing. And she's immediately onto it. Stands up out of her seat, excitedly looking. Oh my god, I can't wait to watch this genius in action, you know? Alright, and then we see what's going on here, right? So she tried to look at Ilya, did not get much. Looked at, what's his face? The main character, he doesn't have a name, and sees a pretty clear image. So it's weird, right? I feel trouble brewing after Kunigisa speaks, then the main character speaks up, and then she says, oh, you're like somebody that'll stand up for others and feel anger on others' behalf. Not something I can recommend, but it isn't a bad quality, but not a good one either. It just simply is a quality. I don't know about this. I would stand up for somebody if I felt incensed by them, especially if they have a close relationship with me, like between the main character and Kunigisa. That just makes sense to me. People that get angry for others are people that are easily influenced by others as well. They aren't these true individuals. A lot of strong personalities here meeting on this island, of course. We just kind of had a conversation about influence of other people on other things as well, and inspiration and all that jazz, right? I hate people like you more than anything. Those that don't seize the day and are simply influenced by others, that don't have that strong ego to them. He's appalling in his own formlessness, and this is only something that continues later in the episode when she berates him for the same stuff, right? She's just calling him basic, basically, right? Which is a little bit funny. So, genre-wise, if we're going to talk about it from that lens, you see a lot of shows with really basic, like cookie-cutter main characters, and then a bunch of exciting, amazing female characters that fill up the rest of the cast, right? Of course, it's natural to write something where that main character then feels his own insignificance, right? Especially in the presence of a bunch of different geniuses. Danganronpa, again, slight spoilers, I guess. You come to the conclusion at the end that it isn't all about your talent and these kind of things, right? You can still make a difference despite who you are and what your predetermined destiny is. But again, there was also some implied destiny to what was going on there as well. But that's a larger discussion, right? Again, the idea of hope versus despair and the ultimate hope. God, it's been a while though. Yeah, she just keeps saying she hates him, which just isn't nice to hear. And then he stands up for himself, but not in a very aggressive way, which is just a little bit strange. He's like, you have no right to speak to me like that, but not getting aggro. A little bit later on, but he's pretty calm right now. Like, he's about to get up and say something to her, and then, Kunigisa's still the one to pull him aside. Okay. But yeah, weird, right? Other people would have, I think, had different responses if they were different types of characters, She also ends the conversation by saying, sorry, I was just joking, which is that's just a terrible joke, if it's a joke. And then, yeah, she doesn't want a bath. We're getting a little bit of so we got through some heavy stuff there, some introduction to themes, and now we're getting a little bit of comedy. Pretty good pacing there, I think. Just a little bit of character stuff before we jump back into the conversations at kind of the kick-ons, kind of like the after-dinner party. She doesn't want to take a bath. She wishes she was a fish, so she was constantly taking a bath and didn't have to take a bath. Then we get into a little bit of discussion about that old, it's not even a wise tale I was going to call it, but yeah, put a sea creature, normally like a crab or a lobster or something like that. You put them alive, you put them in a pot, and you slowly bring it to boil, and there'll be no struggling, right? Before the situation is as bad as possible. And of course, you can probably see the metaphor where you can apply that to different aspects of society. We don't really go in that direction here. We simply just kind of let it stand. I don't know what it could even be saying. Maybe the main character's mental state that he's been suppressing all this time and hasn't realized how bad it got to a certain point, to where he's getting nightmares about it now. I don't know. We'll see. I think we use these screens in the scene pretty effectively as well, just trying to get a visual to what we're talking about as well. See a lot of similar stuff in Monogatari. Even yesterday, there was some advertising boards, right, that displayed a lot of what a certain character was thinking in a scene, which I thought was good. She also said "sakana," so put in the GIF. Put in the GIF here, me. Yeah, we kind of end on a little bit of a joke, like global warming's a problem. Yeah, it is. It is. But also, yeah, like I thought we were talking to something bigger than that here. So yeah, that's the lead into the next scene. I'm hungry. We should go find more food, right? Get Yayoi up. She can whip us up like something, right? A meal very quickly because she's the ultimate chef. Genius level chef, same difference. I guess this is also to show a little bit more of the banter, the personal connection between Kunigisa and the main character, that that despite everything, despite what we learn later in the episode, there's still an amount of jovialness to it all, right? They're happy in their relationship together. It isn't awkward when they're alone. I still feel like the main character's holding back a little bit in these interactions, but they clearly care for each other, I think. I don't know. He shows off his fat badonkadonk here too, which is a pretty good choice, I think. I don't know what this is about too. That little meow too. That's a choice. So now we're on the first floor living room. We went to look for some food. I think the implication here is that Terako went and got some and then came back, and now they're having a chat, having a drink, that kind of thing. Yeah, like Terako noticeably more bubbly and confident than the other maids, right? This is pretty interesting. We get some introductory stuff where Maki like half apologizes for dinner, and then Sakaki Shinya here, right? Calling Ibuki Kanami impossible. More impossible. I've never met somebody more impossible than her. I thought bringing her to this island and spending time in this company would be good for her, but it looks like she's going to be like this for the rest of her life. So him and Amaki, right? She's just kind of on vacation at this island, still getting paid over. It's got Net here. She's doing her job remotely, which is fun. And then the main character thinks to himself, she's just like a parasite, an advanced parasite. Pot calling the kettle black. Like she read his thoughts, right? We ask the main character why he came here. We don't get a response. Now we ask Kunigisa. She came here for a whim. But upon further pressing, again, she's good at this, him and Amaki, right? I came here to investigate a case that has happened in the past. Again, throughout this whole scene, we have like, I'm thinking to myself, and then respond to your thoughts, right? I can read you like a book. They call him pointless. He's pointless, the main character, right? Inadequate, not equal to everybody else in the scene, even the maids. There was a really quick aside here as well, which is like, can you prove that you're a psychic? No need for me to do so, right? Seemingly from everything we've seen so far, it is legitimate, but I just thought it was like a red flag that she didn't demonstrate it, you know? So the alternative would be that she's just really good at reading people, I guess. I don't know. So we see a visual representation here of what happens inside her mind, right, when she reads someone's mind. She's easily able to look into the main character's mind. You're insanely jealous of her. You envy her ability to express her emotions however she likes. Like, instead of being controlled by my emotions, I let my brain be in control and can, basically pick whenever I show an emotional reaction to anything, right? Think of that reflected in the scene where I guess Kunigisa holds him back when he's going to get up and say something or do something to him and Amaki during the dinner scene, right? She's able to think calmly about it and pull him back. And yeah, we get a better shot of it here, right? So later in this episode, we see the main character's thought process as one screen. She's got many, many screens. Again, like how many times could I say it? He's inadequate. He's pointless. He's basic. He's all these other things compared to these other people, and he needs to come to terms with that. What does that mean? Is it destiny that I'm like this? Can I change this? All these kind of themes. So Kunigisa also somebody that can control her emotions, but she doesn't seem happy, right? So is that the trade-off? You're insanely intelligent, but you also can't experience the highs and the lows of the emotions. Think of that in comparison to the academia versus art discussion we were having before. It's quite a bit here. It's quite a bit here for sure. So at the end of it all, the main character denies all this. He says that you've got the wrong idea about me. I'm not that complicated. There's something much easier going on. But it turns out she's hit the nail on the head if we take the scene at the end of the episode as fact. Kunigisa asks for her mind to be read and that kind of thing. She thinks it's kind of fun. But no, can't get a read on her, basically. This is the visual we get for that. Again, we got the letterboxing of one of the screens. This is one of the screens that I can't get a good image of. Oh, and these people tend to send off signals that'll, disrupt the feed from other people, right? That's when, at the dinner scene, we saw her looking at the main character, and there was kind of some disturbance there. That was kind of just, like, off of Kunigisa, you know what I mean? Like, just because they were sitting nearby. She's like a jammer. She jams communications for what she has going on. This is how we're framing it too. Okay, so it wasn't on a whim, interested in a case that happened here a long time ago. Is this case involved beheading? Is that something we need to look into as well? Are we going to explain what that case is? Does it have similar elements to this case now? Was there an earthquake? Was it at this mansion? Was Ilya here? How long ago was it? There's lots of things we need to look into with this. Yeah, kind of as soon as we bring up that case from long ago, we get this earthquake. Interesting. Interesting for sure. And yeah, the earthquake is big question marks. The other thing that's big question marks, right? Okay, so Himinamaki then says like, oh, it's here on the Richter scale, but the epicenter was somewhere else, right? And that was at a 5, this was at a 3 or a 4. So it's fine. It's not a good earthquake, of course, but it's not a bad one either. Nothing's probably destroyed, just a few things knocked off the table and that kind of thing. As we see with a wine glass filled with red wine, symbolizing blood maybe. What I'm getting at is I don't think this earthquake's legitimate. I think that she basically just made up some shit and then just hoped that they all went along with it. It's a very, very, very interesting one. Like the timing of this earthquake and then what happens with Ibuki Kanami. I do like this out of the main character, immediately protective of Kunigisa. Yeah, like Himinamaki just like not very like anxious at it at all, right? She's just very calm through the whole thing. Yeah, when pressed on how you know that information about the Richter scale, I just know, okay? Like no second opinion on it, no justification. He calls Kanami's room, and apparently she's fine. There are paint cans that fell off the shelf and made a mess, but she's uninjured. We see this mess on the floor later in the episode when the scene is revealed. And then this. She told me not to come. Shouldn't you go and help? She told me not to come. We don't hear that other side of the phone call. Yeah, the way we're shooting this guy is like big sus vibes. Not that I think he did it, but he may have some inkling that something's gone wrong. So they finished their wine and cheese and made their way back to the room. And a little bit more banter from the two of them about the hair, about the bed, about the falling around, and all that kind of stuff. Again, this is a little breather. Not too much to look at here, I don't think. Other than, I guess, the main character just being, like, he does everything for her, right? Like, but there's a bit of banter there, but eventually he'll just do it. There's something here, too. Like a broken spine? I know that she was talking about broken arms and pulling at the pigtails there before, but what does that have to do with a broken spine? Why does he look so scary? I don't know. Yeah, an interesting one. I've been told to keep an eye on that main character. I don't know. It's hard to see anything other than him just being sad at his inadequacy yet, right? We're going to see how the rest of the series transpires, but there's not a lot of weird stuff to hold on to unless we're talking about that one scene that I just highlighted. I don't know. Then we get into the shot that I really liked as well. This first-person shot, the screen, and Maki repeating a lot of the things she said at the little after party there. I like this stuff a lot, like the separation between the two through a screen. A little bit meta, again, putting us in the shoes of the main character. These people are so far above us, who are kind of self-inserting at this point. I don't know what this is. They seemingly like a sparks from like some welding or some cutting or something. Or it could be water. It's hard to say. Either way, the main character is disturbed by this, can't sleep. It's got a big foot in the camera, Jesus. Like, clearly this is hitting a nerve. Yep, she read me like a book. Kunigisa Tomo was everything I wanted to be. Or not that. To me, she was, well, he can't remember. He can't find the words for it. It's one to follow, too. I wonder. Either way, he puts his head on the pillow, says Zaregoto. We move to the next day, and something has happened. Again, I had some inkling to the premise of the show, so this wasn't really surprising to me. But who it was surprising, I will say. The first murder has taken place. I don't know if there's more. This is a great shot highlighting it too. We'll see one of the chairs has been knocked over. The rest is standing upright. Faced at weird directions, though. Either way, a few establishing shots later, we see this. She's got no head. She's been killed. Ibuki Kaname, somewhere. There's a bunch of blood around, but also could be paint. Got all the different characters here, seemingly. Again, I'm going to use my pen up here. You seem distraught. You seem distraught. That is Yayoi and her servant. They're the ones that are the most torn up. And the rest are just witnessing it, I guess. Weird. Weird. Pretty good jumping off point for the rest, but I've got an ED to look at as well, which is the same song as last week, so I don't need to read the lyrics there. So we have this future city, and we've got Kunigisa with a bunch of red string around her fingers, pulling the strings, maybe, we'll see. Other than being very shaft, very Madoka as well, especially with the city. I don't know how else to describe it. It's very pretty. It's very pretty ED. I like the animation on it a lot. Red string of fate, just kind of swirling around and stuff. It's in limbo right now, moving up into the sky. Maybe the sky is where we saw that first scene in the show with that random lady. And seemingly we have the main character approaching the scene and Kunigisa running towards the camera happily to go see him. Yeah, and I think that's just about it. So that's the end of that episode there. Pretty good. I think we got a lot of stuff to chew on there. Got my notes up there, which I've added some things to, but I'll look at it next week, I guess, and explain my thought process there. I'm just going to say goodbye. I think that's enough for this week. That's enough to chew on, I guess. And yeah, we'll have to do 2 next week when I find the time, for sure. Maybe alternate 2 and 1 with a different show. We'll see. It's tough to do 2 all the time, especially after a big episode of Monogatari earlier in the week. But there'll be less Monogatari next week, I think, as well. Anyway, that's all inside baseball stuff. Sorry about the 1 episode this week. It is what it is, but we're going to move onward and upwards with the show. It is certainly keeping my interest and keeping me intrigued. And now the first murder has happened. We'll see where we go from here. Again, I do have my suspicions, but there's very, very much more show to go, so they could be thrown on their head, for sure. I think there's a lot to look at with the main character, so keeping an eye on him. Just my show stuff before I go. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I could do to improve my presentation. Comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you'd like me to follow you back. And the Discord. Join Discord. Love Discord. Discord. Don't forget to recommend those shows in that new channel. And yeah, thank you very much for watching this week, and I hope to catch you again next week for more Kubikiri Cycle.